And good evening, everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Talk.
Good evening, everyone, or good morning, wherever you are in the world.
Hi, Alice. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you, Paul? It's nice to see you again.
It's nice to see you back again, and thank you for standing in for Jane.
Oh, you're welcome. It's an absolute pleasure to be back on. Yeah, I didn't know it was going to be so soon, though, so it's lovely.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we can't thank you enough for agreeing to come back on. We've got another great show, another great guest tonight, and we can't wait to bring them on. But before we bring Jackie on, we've got a lot of people coming on saying hello. We've got Lou, Rhonda, Serena, Carol. Hi, guys. It's good to see you. And Sharon, I haven't seen you for a while. Sharon, hope you're okay. And Kathy. Hi, Kathy. So, would you like to introduce the guest, Alice?
Yes, I'll introduce. Okay. So welcome this evening to our guest medium, Jackie Dennison, who is a medium and psychic artist. And she also is a past life regression therapist and psychic spiritual tutor. Now, Jackie's been on quite a popular TV show called The Rescue Medium. And I think it's on the 7th season now, and basically rescues some spirits that are a bit lost into the light. So that's quite interesting. She's also been on ITV this morning, Paranormal TV, and many of popular magazines like Fate and Fortune, Soul and Spirit. And also she's co-author to the book Spirit Art, A House with Spirit, and there's some spirit art in it as well, because I have seen her drawings and the paintings, and they are absolutely beautiful. They're really lovely. So it'll be very interesting tonight to talk to Jackie. So welcome, Jackie.
Yeah, without further ado, good evening, Jackie.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Pleasure. Jackie, with Spiritual Talk, we always like to know how our mediums start their journey. I mean, I know there's lots of people have lots of questions about your rescue work, but you do so much more as well. But we'd like to know a little bit about how you started into mediumship.
How long have you got?
Okay.
Yeah, well, as you know, Paul, spirit tend to throw you into things, don't they? And sometimes you're not quite sure why you're in a certain place at a certain time. But I could tell you the story about when I was a child and how I connected with spirit in that way. But I think the most important part of my journey really was when my brother, my oldest brother, and his wife had a car accident. And he had an epileptic seizure at the wheel. My sister-in-law couldn't drive. And she managed to steer the car and put the handbrake on. They nearly died in the accident. My brother broke both of his ankles. They both ended up in hospital. And he said to me that his father-in-law came and pulled him out of the wreckage. Now, they dropped down about 15 foot. The car was literally like that. And he said his father-in-law came and pulled him out of the wreckage. There's no way that he could physically have walked with the injuries that he had. But he was convinced that this is what had happened to him. Now, my sister-in-law is also a medium. Her name is Christine Hamlet. And we did the first 3 seasons of Rescue Mediums together. But right back in the day when that happened, it started to get me to think about what happens when we die and where we go to. And Christine was already interested in mediumship and that kind of thing. So I went to the Spiritualist Church with her out of curiosity, really. I wanted to find out more. And one night in particular, a medium was on the roster, and her name was Alison Bird. And after the service, she came over to both Christine and I, and she said she'd been told by her spirit guide that we needed to develop our psychic and spiritual pathway. It all started there, really. And we went to train with her in Manchester, and we went to her for over a year. And that was literally being thrown in at the deep end. Yeah. It's only when I've talked to my brother later on, of course, his father-in-law was in spirit. And the ambulance crew said there is no way that he could have gotten out of that wreckage and walked up to where he was because of the sheer drop. There was no way up there, but yeah, he got out. So that's really where it sort of started to gel and coming together, and my curiosity. There's lots of little things in between, from childhood and then teenager years, how you become interested in things. But that was a biggie for me, because they both nearly died, and it made me really think about what happens to us when we leave this earth plane.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, absolutely. And I know a lot of people come into mediumship because they've had different dramas or trauma or tragedy or loss, and it's interesting how people come into the mediumship. But actually, just on an observation question, who is that Indian behind you? What an amazing headdress!
Yeah.
Oh, that is a picture that a client actually did for me of Red Cloud, one of my spirit guides. It's drawn in pencil. He's an amazing artist, and he just appeared and he went, "You are, there you go." And it's been you're in feathers, I call it my little feathered room here. You're in feathers here, and it's been in every feathers building that I've been in, and that sort of come with me. I've got my own sort of spirit work, artwork here, there, and everywhere, but that takes quite a precedent, because he's so commanding, isn't he? When you look at it, and he's there. I like to think he's over my shoulder. You see, he's just watching over me because he's one of my doorkeepers. So, he's just watching over my shoulder there, making sure I'm okay.
Oh, I've got so many questions. Sorry, you first, Alex.
What sort of experiences did you have when you were a child?
I saw spirit animals when I was a child, and I didn't realize that other people couldn't see them. So, I bent down to stroke a dog. The dog wasn't actually there. My friend got freaked out. I had an imaginary pony when I was, when I was probably about 7 or 8 years of age. I had this imaginary pony. And at the time, it was very real. I could see it. I could see it. I could tell you exactly what it looked like. Yeah. And of course, it's your imaginary friend, except I don't feel that it's my imaginary friend. And the interesting thing is, I'm really very wary of horses. They have hooves and teeth, and I am a little bit wary, even though I think they're gorgeous. And yet I had this pony, and it sort of makes you think of, was there a journey with that pony, and that's why the pony appeared to me as a child. It makes you, I do past life regression as well, so just makes you think about how things piece together. But it was animals first with me, and then I saw I was waiting for my auntie who lived with us at the time. I was waiting for her to come home from work. It was probably about 9, and this chappie came and he said, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm waiting for our Jean." I was called our Jean, waiting for our Jean. And he said, "Oh, will you just tell her that George said hello?" I went, "Yeah, of course I will." Off he went up the road. Jean arrived, and I said, "Oh, a man called George just said to say hello to you." She said, "George?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, where did he go?" I said, "Well, he just went up the road and he went in that house there." And she said, "That couldn't have been George. He died 2 years ago." And I saw him full. He was like he was solid. He looked solid. I don't normally see solid, but I did on that occasion. Lots of other things. But I could keep you talking all night, because I could talk for England.
So can I.
But I'm going to kind of focus on a bit more on the mechanics of mediumship, if that's okay, because a lot of our viewers, Jackie, they're either interested or developing mediums themselves. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is, what is your definition of a doorkeeper? Now, there's lots of different ideas around this, and you mentioned Red Cloud being your doorkeeper. So what does that mean to be a doorkeeper for you?
Because I do spirit rescue work in particular, he's very, I always call on him there. I work with two different guys. I work with Jeremiah, who I work with every single day. And Red Cloud is always there. I have others as well that I work with, depending on what it is I'm doing. But with for me, a doorkeeper gives me that extra security to, he's there. So I'll just tell you in a nutshell.
Yeah, please.
When I'm sort of I'm preparing to do my readings for the day, or I'm going to do an investigation, is I ground and protect always. That's always my first thing. Ground, protect, open all my chakras, then say thank you, to the powers that be, and everybody does it in their own way. And then I go into my little spiritual room, and in my little spiritual room, that's all, of course, here. I'm sat by a fireplace, and there's a door to my right, and I ask my spiritual doorkeeper to open the door. Now, I don't need to see him now. Yeah. I did when I first started working with him. I needed to physically know he was there. I don't need to do that now. So I know he just opens the door. Jeremiah comes in, he sits opposite me, and he gives me my list for today, for the day. So this is my little book. And I write every single day. I have what I call my tick list. This is a list of things that my guide gives me every day that are for somebody that I'm going to be doing the reading for on that day. Or if I'm going to be doing an investigation, it's connected to the investigation. But my doorkeeper makes sure that only those that he feels are enlightened would come through. So mainly when you do readings for people, you get loved ones that come in that want to communicate. They want to, to be there. But when you do spirit rescue work, you don't know who's going to come in, because you're dealing with a lot of different levels of anxiety. I call it spirit counseling, because you could be dealing with somebody who's still going through trauma on the other side, or somebody who's really angry at someone on the earth plane, and that's why they're trapped. So it's like having your own bouncer there. Yeah. Keep things under control. That's how I like to think of it. And he's a big fella, well, you can see what he's like. He's a big fella there, and he will make sure. I have others that do that as well. I have others that act as doorkeepers, but that's how I see my doorkeeper.
So that to me has tickled me pink. I'm sorry, but the idea is a bouncer.
He's a bouncer. He's my bouncer. Yeah, he goes all over the world.
Hang on. Your name's not down, love. You're not coming in.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, that's it. That. Yeah, it's like computer says no.
Yeah, that's probably the best explanation I've ever heard. That is brilliant. But rescue work, and we'll talk about the show that you did in which I believe was it mainly based around Canada? Was it Canada and America?
No, all Canada. Yeah,
all Canada. Okay, yeah. And there was about 7 series, wasn't it, or 7 seasons?
Seven seasons. Yeah. Did 89 shows so far. Yeah.
Wow. So I'm so excited to ask you questions about rescue work, and I'm hoping people are going to ask you questions. So there's so much in that. There's so many unanswered questions for a lot of people. Some people, frankly, don't believe in rescue work. Yeah. Okay. I know. I've come across situations where I know that there is elements of souls. Now, can you break down the difference? Say, let's break it down to the basics. A haunting. Is it just an energy of the person lived there before, if you saw an apparition, or is it the actual soul that connects to the house? Is there part of that soul still there? Is that a part of the work that you do?
Yeah, all of that
Releasing
above
soul.
and beyond. All of that
Okay.
and above and beyond.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the thing with rescue work or an investigation, because you don't know it's going to be a rescue situation. It might not be. It could just literally be residual energy, which is created from depression, anxiety. You can have like ley lines would hold energy. Then houses or buildings or land will also hold energy. So let's just say, for example, your house is built on a site where a battle took place. So there could be discord from the battle that is still there. So, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done in cases like that. But it could be that there's a former homeowner that has a grievance that's there or has died very suddenly, doesn't know that they've died, and you've got to literally say to them, I've even had to walk a spirit energy to his grave to show him his name on the grave before before he was actually convinced that he passed away. And we have a spirit team, of course, on the other side who are there helping all the time. This is definitely a team effort. And I would not go into a spirit rescue situation on my own. I always have like a partner or a group with me that we would go into that situation, whether it's on rescue mediums or whether it's with my team here. So Steve Furlong is, I call him my other half here. He's, we have a little rescue team here, and I do work with other mediums in that way as well. So it's finding out why they are haunting. So who are you? What are you doing here? What is your problem? How can I help? It's as simple as that. If a stranger walked into your house, you'd say, what are you doing there? Why are you here? What's going on? And so you treat spirit in exactly the same way.
Wow. Well, you've just kind of set everybody off. Lots of questions coming in about this very topic. I mean, you kind of answered Carol's. Hi, Carol. She's asked a question. Do all spirits welcome being rescued? Do you have resistance?
Yes. Yes. Whenever you watch anything on TV, it's been edited, of course, so because you've got a time frame in which the show goes out. So rescue mediums, when we're doing an episode of rescue mediums, it's 4 days of filming. So the rescue takes place, and the crew know, because we've so blessed with the crew that we have, had them right from day one. So they know, 2 cameramen, 1 sound guy, and everybody else who's involved in that, that they know where we are. We have head of research, Edna, who literally, she's got the headset on. She's writing absolutely everything down that we are talking about. Everything we're saying, that she could then go away and do the research afterwards to back up who these people are we're talking about. So they know that if you miss a rescue situation while we're filming because, the camera's suddenly gone or the microphone's not working, it's tough, because we're here to do a job. And you can't say to spirit, excuse me, can you just hang on 5 minutes? We just need to recharge the battery. So it can take anything up from a few minutes to hours. It can be hours of negotiating if you've got a spirit who is difficult. What I would say to people, if you are going into this field, is make sure that you have your spirit team and you know who your spirit team are. And don't be afraid to call on loved ones in spirit who connect to the person you're trying to help, the spirit you're trying to help. Ask their loved ones to come forward, because sometimes that's all it takes, is for them to recognize someone, to go, oh, yeah, there's my mum, or oh, there's my great gran, or whatever that situation is, they'll always be willing to help.
Can I just ask Jackie, why is it just in a situation when, say for instance, children you know, and they went through a terrible time here,
Yeah.
and they remained stuck here.
Mm.
Why do they not go to that light where they see mom and dad with welcoming arms, trying to gather them in their arms? Why do they not go forward? Why do you think that is?
It could be fear. It could be that, just an example, Steve Furlong and I were working in Spain, and we encountered a lot of spirit children there who were really terrified of a gentleman in spirit it was like a bit like an orphanage, and he was in control of this orphanage, and he was so awful to these children that they were terrified of him, and he was haunting the building. Mm-hmm. So the children were trapped. This is children who had died there. Now, children's bodies had been found at the bottom of a well inside that building, but we didn't know that at the time. It was only afterwards that we found that information out. But he was a very cruel man, and as children, as they passed away or whatever, or we don't know how they died, but they did, and there's evidence there to prove that they did. And so they were frightened of him, so they would not go through. We had to get him through first, and then they all went, because they were still scared of him. They were still in that same vibration. They were still trapped in that time warp, if you like, of that, of that time. So yeah, there's a number of other cases with children, and it could be that it's just traumatic. They don't know where to go. They're it's a bit like being in you're walking down a dark street and you're lost. It's dark. It might be rainy. There's no signposts. There's no lights on. You don't know where you're going, and all of a sudden you see a light on in a window of a house. So you go to that house. You might just have a little peep through the window of the house. And then if you're brave enough, you might knock on the door and say, I'm lost, can you help me? But if that light just stays on and nobody answers the door and comes to help, then you literally would do the loop and the same thing again. So it's like that. So it could be that they literally can't see beyond the fear of what for whatever reason they're there. I mean, children do mainly just go over because of their innocent nature. Yeah. But some children don't for that reason.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, I remember, and I'm going way back, when I was in my teens, I grew up next door to a lady who was a medium, and she was a rescue medium as well. And she used to talk about helping people and going over, and it was like more developed souls would go into those darker areas to rescue those people anyway, or to help awaken them. So my question around that would be, and forgive me for asking this question because this is something that's been in my head, why do they need us to help them? Does that make sense? If beings can go into those darker spaces from the spirit world, do you see what I mean, Jackie? Or is it something that we can do? I know the power of prayer is really powerful from this reality into theirs. Is that the same kind of thing? Well, I think I'm trying to grasp the straws a little bit here, but am I kind of answering my own question with that? Does that make sense?
No.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is,
Paul, it makes sense. Sorry, that's
okay. It's all right. Well, I go off on tangents sometimes, Jackie. It's well known.
It's like anything, though, really, isn't it? You need to be, and like we haven't got all the answers. Okay, so when you are a child, the book that you read is a children's book. When you're a teenager, you may read a little bit of Shakespeare at high school, but you can still read that children's book you read at the age of 5 or 6. But at 5 or 6, you can't read Shakespeare, nor are you interested in Shakespeare, No. So it's a case of we have to go through certain learning phases to be able to go to the next level. So the way I see it is that spirit energy is able to, an energy that's enlightened is able to visit the lower planes, if you like, to help, because they're on a spiritual journey, so they want to help. Those that are on that lower level, when they go in, for whatever reason, they're on that level through lack of understanding, or maybe even, and this, I'm just going to put my fingers in my ears now, because I'll get lots of people going, no, with this. But religion is probably one of the things that holds a lot of people's minds locked, in that they have to follow this religious route, or else, you know, and I'm not going to name any religions whatsoever, because I'm a free thinker, but it can cause a lot of issues, in that if they haven't got an open mind before they go over, then that's the plane that they go in. But we still have to learn, because we're on a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And so in order to raise, it takes other spirits to go, actually, I came in on this plane. I was here. I understand where you are. So you've got helpers there who want to help, because they've been through that journey and they understand. So that's what I say. It's like spirit counseling. And that's how I think it works. So sometimes it needs the two teams. It needs the medium to help, but to help to raise the level through prayer or anything else, because thought is a very powerful thing.
Yeah.
To raise that level, or the spirit team to come in, and the loved ones to come in to work from that side as well, to help to enlighten that person. You know, somebody who doesn't believe in life after death, for example, may struggle a little bit when they go over. But then I've been to a funeral this morning, and the gentleman there, his daughter is a medium, and the gentleman who had passed away had not believed in any of this, even though his daughter is a medium. Well, do you know what he believes now?
Yeah.
You know, so that contact's already been made, which is lovely, because he will now take on board what he has learned from his daughter, even though he didn't really believe it. Now he's where he is. He'll be going, oh, hey, it was true, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've heard that many times as well.
Yeah.
We need to crack on with some of these questions. We've been kind of self-indulgent. Sorry, guys.
I told you, I'm the religious yak for England.
Me as well. So just going to quickly go through this. What would cause a disbelief from spirit? This is from Suzanne, because we were talking about earlier. You took that man to his grave. What causes that disbelief? Is it just that being shut off, or fear?
Yeah, I think so. It's like anything, isn't it? You know, people can be very close-minded about things. You know, we're only human, and we have to bear that in mind, that we're only human. We're spirit living in a human body, you know, but the spirit is what continues. The body is, of course, as we know, discarded, but the spirit continues. So it's still, the mindset is still the same, really.
Do you also believe? I've just had spirit give me something as well in the back of my head that I've thought of for a long time. I was listening to Brian Blessed, and he had a meeting with the Dalai Lama, because he asked, I don't know if you know Brian Blessed, he did an interview with Fern Britain, and it was on a Christian show, and he started talking about his beliefs, but then he had this really interesting experience with the Dalai Lama. Back in the day, you had to ask him to ask permission to climb Mount Everest, and Brian said he wanted to try and attempt this without oxygen. So this guy's a larger than life character, for those of you that know Brian. But it's interesting, right at the end of the meeting, Brian said, I'd never told anybody this, but it did go public, so it is out there. There's an interview out there with Brian, and he talks about his the Dalai Lama starts to talk about his younger brother that was dying of cancer, and he said to Brian, it's okay, Brian, your brother believes in God, so he will be reincarnated. And I won't go into the full story about that, but so the faith again in someone, does that help us carry forward into the spirit world?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think it does. Whatever that faith is, it's the faith in there is something higher. There's a greater power than any of us, and you can call that power whatever you want to. You can label that power God, or whatever you want to label that power. I've recently been filming a documentary in Japan, and it was quite an eye-opener. I absolutely adored being there, and I loved doing the work that I did there. And of course, the belief system there is very different there to how it is here. And it's like that. It's almost like Japan is like the flower that's opening up to all of this. And they are so. When you think that Reiki was Reiki was born in Japan. And so the healing element and the very spiritual aspect of them is one thing, but of course they are not Christians, so they look at things in a different way. They're a Buddhist nation, but it's different to the Buddhist thought pattern of maybe India, So it's a completely different thought pattern as to where we go when we pass from this lifetime. But it's a very, very spiritual nation. So it doesn't matter where we are in the world. Everybody has their own beliefs about where we go to and how we evolve. It's just a case of tapping into that belief without labeling it, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. Go on, Ashley, have you got a question? Because I keep hogging it. I'm so sorry. Have you got a question?
Yeah. I was going to say, what do you think was your maybe more memorable experience on the rescue program that was perhaps difficult? It was a real difficult one to out of them all.
All 89 shows.
Was there not one that stood out more than maybe the others?
Yeah, there's lots that I've stood out for different reasons. Either the homeowners, have been very memorable, or the situation. I think one of the loveliest ones that I can think of, and it was really lovely, is the first one I did with Christine I was with on the first 3 seasons, and then I was with Alison for the last 4 seasons, and I'm still working with Alison now. She's a wonderful lady. And the very first one I did with Alison, we dealt with a little girl who we called, she was a rainbow child. We knew she was a rainbow child. She was a beautiful healer. And after we'd finished doing the show, we were walking away, and you've got the cameras there, and we're waving, and the little girl is waving at us back with her mum and her gran there. And over the house, a beautiful rainbow appeared. And we couldn't have planned that any better. And I'm sure that, viewers watching the show say, oh yeah, the editors just put a rainbow in there. But honestly, it was there. And it was like a seal of approval that, Alison was there, and we were, this team, that she needed to have that confirmation that, that she was accepted, if you like, into something that had been going for quite a while. But everything was about the rainbow, and then there it was over the house. And that to me was really memorable for that reason.
That's lovely. It's a bit like when the Queen passed, isn't it? The beautiful rainbow that went over the castle.
That's it. Yeah.
It was lovely. It was really nice. Yeah.
Hi, Anne-Marie. She's asked a question. How does someone not know they died? I thought the relatives usually come to meet them and take them over.
Yeah, well, they do. But it depends on what that person's state of mind is when they passed over. Especially if they've passed in a traumatic situation, or it's very, very suddenly. So if somebody has passed very, very suddenly and they don't know that they've passed, they carry on doing the same thing. So I'll just give you an example of that. So a friend of our family, he's been gone for many years now. He had a car accident, and his car overturned, he broke his neck. And I know that he got out of the car and he walked home, and he went and got into bed, and did all of the normal routines. Now, I know that he did that because different people had seen him, not knowing that he had passed away. I'd seen him walking, and then the house where he was staying at heard the door go, heard somebody come up the stairs, and his bedroom door close. But his body was lying in a field in a car upside down. And so he had remained in that sort of traumatic state of doing the same things that he would normally have done for some time. So it was like a loop thing that he was doing until all of a sudden it was like, I'm talking to these people and they're not replying to me. What's going on here? And then eventually, of course, someone did come through from spirit that he was able to communicate with, because of course, when somebody passes as well, all your adrenaline is going. Just prior to that passing, he was racing his car. He had been drinking. And so, you know, he had to come to terms with what had happened and that he was responsible for that himself. So, yeah, a family member came forward and he was able to see it then. But it can take a while before they know, you know. So not everybody who passes suddenly or traumatically is trapped. So please don't think that that happens. Most of the time, I would say at least sort of 90% of the time, when we pass, there are loved ones that are waiting to greet us, and we just go through that light. But these are extreme circumstances where this has happened.
Can I ask? Oh gosh, I'm so I could keep you here all night, Jackie. So I'm just going to kind of just quickly.
All right, I'm going to get the bottle of wine in a minute. I'm all right.
You know what? Let's go and get the wine on. Okay. Well, we got to do messages in a little while, so we got to keep sober, Alice.
I know.
So we can have it later, though. We can have a drink later. That's absolutely fine.
On later.
So, have you ever come across what's termed as shadow people?
Yes.
What would you describe them as, and how would you deal with them?
Well, you know, like anything, it's like, why are you presenting yourself in that way? Because shadow people, of course, are they use the vibration so that you can see the shadow.
Yes.
I've also come across shapeshifters who use that same vibration where they change shape, and it's usually the whatever situation has brought them to that thought pattern. It is as they think differently, they're able to change the shape. They don't realize that the shape is changing.
Yeah,
it's because it's like having the brainwaves, where you can see the brainwaves, and then you ask somebody to think about something and the brainwaves go like that. So this is just a visual way of being able to see what's happening with the mind, with that spirit that you're dealing with. Now, shadow people, of course, have a different vibration. So the way I have dealt with that is, why are you presenting yourself in this way? Do you want to come and talk to me? Can you just, I'm curious about you. You know, people always like to, you know, for it to be, you know, if you stuck, you know, ask them something about themselves. So shadow people are like, why are you here? What are you doing? What's your purpose? You know, tell me something about you. Because if they are in that vibration, they're able to communicate because they want you to see them.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been pinched by one.
Yeah. Oh, they can get very visual because of that vibration. It's a heavy vibration. I've been scratched. I'm pinched in that way. They can be, and they can push as well.
Yeah,
they can use, that's where the shapeshifter comes in. They can push, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, we might have a spammer on, so I'm not sure, guys. I'm sorry if you get spammed. I'll block them if we do. Suzanne's just put, is that the same as seeing a shadow in peripheral vision? Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it is. If you're seeing something a peripheral vision, I think you are seeing spirit energy, but not necessarily a shadow energy that is holding that vibration.
Yeah.
So because spirit can move very quickly, and I liken that to tar that's just been freshly laid on the road when it's hot and you can see all the steam coming up from it. That's how I see spirit energy, like that out the corner of my eye, and you turn and of course there's nothing there. Yeah, that's
how I saw it was I became aware of it while I was doing something else, and I communicated. I was very aware of them, and it was like something from a cartoon. It shot across the room, almost because it didn't realize that I was aware of them.
Yes.
And then it came round behind me, and when I was looking that way, it pinched my arm.
Yeah.
And it shot off again. It was almost like a child, but it wasn't a child in this situation. But I did try attempt to communicate, and it was a lady. And I won't go into the story now, but it was quite interesting. How do you get them from that state of being there to move over? Because they're normally in someone's house, and I found that I'm getting a lot of inquiries from people about those shadow people.
Well, again, it's communication. You've got to, you see, if you just say to a human being, right, get out now, I don't want you here, just go, that they may comply and do that, or they may go, well, excuse me, and who do you think you are? This is my house. What are you doing here in my house? You know, so then you've got to ask them, you know, why do you think it's your house? You know, it's all about that communication as to finding out why they are there. Why is that woman pinching your arm? Why, you know, why is somebody being stubborn here? There's a reason for it. It's again, it's counseling.
But could it be somebody within the house is resonating at a low frequency, like someone who's a manic depressive, someone who's thinking about suicide? I've found that sometimes.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Well, as you know, we can manifest an energy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if somebody is very, very depressed, they walk out of the room and somebody who is enlightened walks into the room, you can sense it straight away. It's like, oh my God, what's going on in this room? I call it a heavy, you know, I use my hand chakras all the time to gauge energy. So I'll go, oh yeah, that's a heavy energy. Okay, so what can this tell me? Because I use that all the time for you know, to get information about energy. What kind of energy is it? Is it an energy I can communicate with? What's it doing it? Can I move it? Can I move it by converting the energy? So I bring the light in through the head, down the hands and out through the hand chakras, and try to put some sort of a barrier around it or form it, and then push the, you know, bring the light in and push the energy out to try and lift that energy. Or using Reiki, because, you know, you can use not just Reiki, but any energy healer, or saging, you know, smudging. But you're absolutely right, Paul. It can be generated by another person. It can also attract as well, because that person who is suicidal could be attracting that energy to them, or it could be that energy has now attaching to them, and therefore creating the situation in the house.
Yeah,
so it can get complex.
Before we go any further, though, I do need to, people sitting at home asking lots of questions, I don't want to put a lot of fear. Okay, these are very, very rare occurrences.
Yeah.
And the truth is, there is nothing to fear. Okay. For me, I don't know about you ladies, but I have a really strong faith that I've come across through my own spirituality. And I've always felt I've never had a problem. I've never come across anything I couldn't deal with. And the majority of it just comes with love.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's the love and the light, and I've never had any problem. And long may it last that way. But you'll see me running right out that door. You know, because I'm quite happy working with spirit world in the way that I do, with the love, and there has been traumatic cases that came through that haven't been nice at all, but they have had someone on the other side that's came from them, and they have passed over, and it was nice to actually reconnect the family with the son or the daughter in particular, and give that reassurance that, their son's all right, and he's with, he's with such and such, and and give some evidence, and also just feel that love coming from spirit world, So yeah, I can understand what you mean as well with that, Paul. It's catching that balance of, don't, because a lot of things are based on fear, as well. Even when we were children, we always loved to scare ourselves with ghost stories and things,
Well, it's innate, isn't it? It's innate within us that we have a fight or flight mode. What we don't see, we fear, for survival. So it's always going to be there. But once you put that to one side and realize that's part of your human mechanism, if you like, you then start to become aware of what's really going on.
Yeah, we're only frightened of things that we don't understand.
Absolutely.
So if you understand the mechanism of something, then at least it can take some of that fear factor out of things. So that's what we were always hoping with Rescue Mediums, with the show, right from day one, that it should be like a tutorial, really, that would, let's take the Scooby-Doo factor out of all of this. We don't do the Scooby-Doo. I mean, I would never, ever go into a location that's been haunted and say, come on, show yourself. I would never do that, because I respect spirit energy, and I have a spirit team there. We're trying to help to diffuse a situation, or just to bring the harmony back within the home, So yeah, it's all about respecting the spirit teams, respecting the energy within the house itself, or the building, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Rachel Arnold, well said.
Yeah.
Fear comes down to lack of knowledge. I agree.
That's true. Yeah. Very true. Yeah.
Okay, so also we've got. I'm so sorry if we've kind of created any fear here. Somebody's put. Oh, this is it. Debbie's put, like the film Ghost with Whoopi Goldberg. Do you believe spirit looks to get justice if they have been murdered?
I've been asked that question before. They can do, yeah. They can, if they have been. I'm working on 2 murder cases in Canada at the moment. I've been working on them for some time, and both of the spirit victims want justice, but whether the justice is for themselves or whether the justice is for their family, that's the difference, because they have both passed and they are not trapped. So neither of them are trapped. They don't need help. What they're trying to do is trying to uncover, in one of the cases, their remains, so that the family can get closure. So it's a different kind of justice. So yes, they've been murdered, but the justice is for the family and not for them as individuals, because they definitely don't need help themselves.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. And we were talking before we came live, wasn't we, about a particular, I'm not going to name names, about a particular child that's disappeared.
Yes.
And it was only recently that I picked them up, and 3 times now they've come in, but they only seem to come in, they don't stick around for long.
No.
But from what I understand, the case has been reopened.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that case has never been closed, as far as I'm aware. No.
Okay. So for me, there is this real sense of that injustice, and I know for me, with my mediumship, when I see, I don't know whether to say I was honored. I'm not sure if that's an honor or not, but I once had Reggie Cray come in because the lady's grandfather was in his gang. But I saw him, I visualized him. He came in as just a dark energy. He had no features. He was just black.
Yeah.
So again, maybe that's why I'm working. I could tell that this guy was going to be quite a dark person. I don't know, but I found that with quite a few gangsters. that they come in quite dark. So I'm not sure if it's just a way that I work, but I don't see their features. They're just black. But interestingly, I always see them coming in with someone who's really light. So whether there's that polarity, someone's there to show and help them.
Yeah.
How do you deal with someone who's committed atrocities or they've murdered and they've gone into the spirit world? Have they got a right to go higher? I know we don't know their story, their soul's journey. They might even be offering. Can you imagine Adolf Hitler saying, "I will be the person to create atrocities"?
The thing is that can be a debate that could go on for and I've had this conversation with other people as well. But we're all responsible for our own actions. Absolutely. And when we go over to the spirit world, we have to look at our own actions. We have to look at our life, and then it's up to us as individuals to learn from that in order to move on. And part of that must be to recognize the atrocities that they'd committed when they were on the earth plane. But we can't judge that. It's not our place to judge that at all. It's so I just leave that to the powers that be, otherwise I'd have sleepless nights.
Yeah,
I've got enough on my plate without having Adolf Hitler there. Thank you very much.
Gosh, yeah. But can you imagine going, because people offer Akashic record readings. Can you imagine going to see your book of life and you was, I don't know, some kind of dictator? You're not going to be happy, are you? What you can do about it, but you're not going to be happy, are you? So, well, I guess that's where the power of prayer comes in. So, oh gosh, we got so many people. Here's one from Sandy. Does an angry person in this life keep the same personality after they cross over?
Well, you don't suddenly grow wings and become an angel, do you? When you go, again, it's about coming to terms with all owning that responsibility and coming to terms with who you are. If you're angry, what makes you angry? Why are you angry? It's a case of we need to look at that. What are the triggers that make that person angry? But it's an individual thing, and I've had to deal with spirit who have been trapped because of anger, and find out what's making you angry. And you usually have to find there's a root to everything. We're not born with anger, we're not born with hate, and so it's created within a lifetime. So where did it start? And so that's why I said it's like it's counseling, because it's where did it start, what happened, and then how can we move on from that? Otherwise you're stuck in that, like the hamster in the wheel, you're stuck in it, but we have to move on.
So I believe Rhonda asked a question. Sorry if I've missed it. Oh, here we go. Have you had spirit tell you who murdered them when it has not been solved? Now that's a tricky one, isn't it? And how would it is?
Yeah. It is. It is, because you can't go armed with that information and say, because you don't have the right to do that.
No.
The only thing you can hope for is that if you provide information that comes in from any quarter in spirit, you're not going to be the only one that's going to get that. Spirit don't think, oh, she's the only one, or he's the only one that can help me here. That spirit energy will be working with a variety of different people.
Yeah.
So here's how the police work. I know because I've worked with them on quite a few occasions, is that a police officer will not take one psychic or medium's word. But if you get 10 or 15 mediums who are all giving the same or very similar information and they don't know each other, then they'll start to go, do you know what? Maybe we need to look at this again. Maybe we need to look the description that 5 out of 7 people have given of this particular, human being, male in his 50s, balding, whatever, an earring, left ear, you know, do you mean all of these things, a tattoo, left arm, or if all of those different mediums are giving the same or very similar information, the police will go, actually, we've got somebody on our file that may fit that. Let's look into this a little bit closer. So they would never tell you that they're acting on that information because it can't be proved in a court of law.
Yes.
But I really believe that psychics and mediums can work by the side of the police to help solve.
Yeah, I agree with that, because they can take you to a certain area as well. They can take you to a certain area, but after that, they don't give you anything else. They've took you to that area and they won't give you anything else about, well, certain things, but they wouldn't tell you, well, it was so-and-so that actually murdered at that area. They'll just take you to that area. Yeah.
So would that not be more that if you gave that information where they were so the police could find the body, for argument's sake? Yeah, I always believe in the intelligence of spirit. They give us what they need at that moment.
Yes.
And I believe that within our readings that we do for people, our sittings. Now, potentially you'd like to think one thing would be a domino effect to another. So if they found the body, they'd find DNA, they might find it. So sometimes I think there's a reason why they don't name people.
Yes. Yeah.
Although I was once given to particular people, but not names. I was shown them.
Yeah. And that's where the psychic art comes in. So psychic art can be used in cases like that. It can be that you draw it, you know, as you're seeing it, or you get an artist to draw what you are seeing here in your mind's eye, and that's the image that you're being given from spirit. So, you know, I think to me that is far better than naming someone.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the right to throw that name out there.
Absolutely. It's so dangerous.
Opening a can of worms there.
Can you imagine though? Now I know with clairaudience, you can mishear clairaudience. Can you imagine you've accused somebody of murder and they're innocent? You potentially ruined their life. So we do have no right. So that's why we have to be really careful what we do. I really agree with that.
That's where the respect has to come in, you know, and the confidentiality, of course, as well. You know,
but governments use this kind of stuff, though. They're not they use it for like the Psychic Warrior book. You know, in the Cold War, the Russians and the Americans were spying on each other. They were doing what they called a remote view program. So these things are not known. They are very well known, and I know the Americans still have a program today. And no doubt the English and everybody else, but this stuff does work. So it does make you wonder why they can't do more. Maybe
I use remote viewing with missing person cases, and I've, as I said, just come back from Japan, and one of the tasks was to find a missing cat. The cat had been missing for 5 days. When I got there after 8 days, the cat was found. I worked with a mother and son team who were professionals in their field. They were rescuers, animal rescuers. I connected with the energy of the cat, and I asked the cat to show me through its eyes. I knew it was alive. I said, please show me through your eyes. Bear in mind, I don't speak Japanese, but of course the thought's the same in any language. So let me know what you can see. And I drew what the cat was showing me. So I drew a broom that was flat. I could hear a bell ringing, 2 stone steps. I could see what I thought was a wheel. It turned out to be an air conditioning unit, corrugated iron, a ladder and an umbrella. And I drew all these things. And when the cat was found, it was found. And I could see it going underground. I went under this particular place. The cameraman was following me. There was the broom, and it was exactly as I'd drawn it. It was on a wooden plinth, which I'd drawn. We had to go up to 2 stone steps to get to this place and then go underneath. And I'd seen it from the cat's eyes, but I'd drawn it because that's what I could see. And that was the shapes of things that I was being shown. And so when I was working in that way, I was remote viewing with the cat. I was communicating with the cat, but the area that the cat showed me, I use remote viewing. What does it sound like? What does it taste like? What does it look like? What's the texture of it? And that came from remote viewing. And then I connected with the cat's energy. Like, what can you see through your eyes? So you can use it. Of course, it's a projection. That's what it is. It's using all of your senses, and that's what remote viewing is.
Yeah.
Where you can see an area, you can see what it looks like before you go there. I knew that there was a playground there, a children's play area with swings, because I'd seen it here. I'd remote viewed the area that I was going to, and the place where the cat was found, it was the playing field was right there. So, and it was alive. I did say that it there was something wrong with its paw. That's why it hadn't gone home. And when the vet took a look at it, one of its claws had been ripped out. So, but anyway, the cat was fine. Thankfully. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like nice endings.
Yeah, that's a nice happy ending, isn't it?
It is. That is. We've been going for an hour. Can you believe that?
Really?
We've been going for an hour already. So can we just ask our last question, Jackie? What next? You've got a lot of stuff going on, haven't you?
Yes, I have got a lot of stuff going on. I'm at the moment, I'm working with two different mediums on different projects. One is a bit like an investigative kind of project with different scenarios in every case. So we're just being guided by spirit. They're telling us where to go. So it's there's no script. I never work with a script anyway. It's like you see what you see is what you get with me. And so it's like, that's where you go. And never know where they're going to send us, but that's where we end up. So that was one thing with one medium. And with the other is I am the medium communicating with the human, with their loved ones in spirit. And the other lady she's working with animals. So she's an animal communicator. So she works with the animal on the earth plane or the animal in spirit. So there are two different projects that I've got going on at the moment. I'm doing some work with Steve Furlong, who I say he's my spiritual rock. I've got two Steves in my life. One is my husband. He is my total rock. And then I've got my spiritual rock, who is Steve Furlong. And we're doing a pilot for a show as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on apart from doing readings and past life regression and everything else, and workshops, of course, and tutorials. So I'm always busy, but I like being busy. Spirit always keep me busy.
Yeah.
I love that. We actually missed. I'm sorry if we missed your questions, guys, tonight. We did kind of go out really quickly, but Debbie has asked one last question. Do you mind if we do this one? So my daughter died suddenly, age 38 in May, and my husband, who was terminally ill, died in August. How do I know if their spirits are together?
Oh my gosh, well, I'm really, really sorry that she's had to cope with so much.
Absolutely.
I mean, watch out for the signs that are being sent. I'm sure, absolutely sure, that they will be together. There will be other loved ones there in spirit who will have shown them the way, if they didn't know the way, that would have been there for them, and helping to guide them. But spirit will let us know in a lot of different ways, as you both know, that they're around. So, and I always say to people, seeing isn't always with the eyes, and hearing isn't always with the ears. It's the knowing. And it's just like, I think I'm getting a message from over there because I've just seen a feather land here. And so the feather is, it depending on the size of the feather, if it's a white feather, if it's small and fluffy, it's a supporting feather. If it's a long white feather, it's like a bit of a direction that's coming in. But so pay attention to signs, to numbers that are being repeated, to colours that suddenly jump out at you that you're thinking, oh my God, that's really, really pink. Why am I seeing pink all the time? Well, that connects to the heart chakra, and that could be their loved ones in spirit wanting you to know that they love you. So it's how it feels. Just pay attention to the things that are repeated, no matter what they are, because it's a bit like going to a foreign country. You don't understand the language, so you've got to learn it, and they've got to learn when they go to spirit how to communicate. But we have to learn here to recognize the signs that are being sent to us. But I'm pretty certain that they would be together.
Awesome. I think Debbie's in the background. Debbie, would you mind coming on? She's in the background watching. I'm going to bring her on. Hi, Debbie. Did you manage to hear that?
I couldn't believe you said about the feathers, because I have seen a lot of feathers.
There you go. Yes. Yeah. And they
An
were
amazing amount. And I've seen them everywhere, and I've kept them. And even my daughter's shoes were on the floor, and a feather flew in from the window and landed by the shoe.
Beautiful.
Brilliant. That, you see, something like that is so wonderful. Then it's not just a sign of the feather, it's the sign of where it's landed. It's next to her shoes, and she's telling you that she's able to walk. She's okay. She's able to walk. I'm walking now. I'm fine now. So don't worry about me.
I can't believe you've said that, because she had muscular dystrophy.
Okay.
And when she died, her walking was an issue. But she actually died of COVID-related pneumonia, which was totally unexpected.
Gosh.
But because she'd had a chest infection for so long, and then the pneumonia, she had COVID, and then had long-term COVID. And I just felt, now I hope she is moving freely and dancing.
That's it.
And now you've said that,
the
feather landed by the shoe, right by it, and I've tucked it in the shoe.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
That is weird. Yeah, and that's how I hope that she is. Because she wanted life and to enjoy it. She's left a 4-year-old little girl. And I just like to think she's free now. And
absolutely. Yeah, my heart goes out to you, my darling. It really does.
Sorry for your loss.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I hope that helps, Debbie.
So Debbie, if you want to contact me privately, I will do a free reading for you.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
Okay. Get all the information from Paul, and then
just send me. I'll send your details on. Yeah. Thank you, Jackie, so much.
You're welcome.
Another funny thing you should say about the feathers. My husband was. He always said he wanted to come back in his next life as a seagull. And then I see this link with the feathers. And I was on the beach with a friend, and we were talking, and she said to me, she said the other day, I felt like a feather was tickling my toe. And she said, I said, Martin, which is my husband who died, Martin, is that you? And I said, well, that's weird, because he said he wanted to come back as a seagull so he could soar wherever he wanted to go. And this is funny. And literally, as we said that, a seagull pooed on her arm.
Love it.
That is funny.
And
he always said, beware, because I might pinch your chips or I might poo on you.
I love that. I love that. That's brilliant.
Oh, you know what? That's so funny, because he's left his mark, literally.
He really has.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's a good one, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'll match you guys up, so don't worry, but thank you for that, Jackie.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I just need some reassurance to know they're there. You know, it's been awful.
Not better. No.
Do you know, I wish everyone could be so aware of how close spirit really truly are around us.
Yeah.
You know, I always say this to people, and people get bored of me saying this, but the first thing I learned was that everyone that we love and they love us, we're connected through our heart center. And when we think of them, they feel it wherever they are in the universe. And I believe that. That's kind of stuck into my head.
That's right. It's so true. Yeah, absolutely.
Very much so. Yeah.
The love carries on. The love carries on.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
We're going to say goodbye, Debbie. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, Debbie.
Thank you,
I forgot
Jackie.
to mention, Paul, I forgot to mention before when you asked me about different things that we were doing. I'm still working with the Rescue Mediums team. We do a show called Rescue Mediums Behind the Scenes. And we just talk about an episode of the show. It's hosted by a lady called Sandy Duncan. And so there's myself and Alison Wynne-Ryder. And Michael Lamport, who's the producer of the show, and Edna Dargy, who's the head of research. And we talk about an episode of the show. And then through lockdown, I learned how to edit. So I edit the show and then I put it out. It goes out on veryparanormal.com. So I forgot to mention that. And they'll be jumping up and down going, you never mentioned the show. But there you go. I've got it in.
Carol's made a good point. Now we do a free reading for anybody who's shared, but Carol said, give the reading to Jackie. Let's get Jackie to pick for a free. Oh no, she's not. She's reminding me to pick a free reading.
Oh,
well, I'm having a senior moment trying to read this, Carol. Sorry about that. Before you go, Jackie, can you pick? So, guys, quickly, can you say if you shared, please, and you're down for a free reading? Okay, I've still got to do aims from last week, which will be done this weekend. So don't worry. That shared. Kathy shared. I think. Serena shared. Juliana shared. Emma has shared. Suzanne, Vicky, Jamie Lee shared. Oh, it's all coming. Sharon has shared. They're still coming, thick and fast. Any more that are shared, guys? You're going to be picked out of the hat. Rhonda has shared. And if you've won, Stephanie has shared as well. So if you could pick from someone from that list, that would be great, Jackie.
There was a double-barreled name.
Stephanie Louise?
No. Sorry, Stephanie.
Julianne Barber.
That's it, Julianne. That's it. That's the one.
Julianne Barber, congratulations. You've won a free reading.
Yeah, sorry, Stephanie.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Steph. Sorry, Steph. But yeah, it's you, Julianne. Congratulations. We'll be in touch, so don't worry. Okay. Awesome. I've got to do one from last week. I still haven't had a chance from last week's one, but that will be done this weekend, so no worries. Nearly, Steph. Absolutely. Jackie, it's come to the end of the show, and we can't thank you enough for coming.
You're welcome. I've really enjoyed myself. It's always good to connect with like-minded people, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been lovely having you. It's been really
nice. We have a lovely audience.
Yeah,
we have a lovely audience, and we go across 8 different platforms, and a lot of people will watch this on Catch Up. Some people in Australia, America, and beyond. So it's great. So it is great. And we've had a really interesting conversation. So thank you ever so much for coming on.
You're very welcome.
So it's time to say goodbye, Jackie. So I'm just going to drop you out. I don't like this bit because I feel like I'm beaming you out.
I know.
Yeah, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and she's off to the mothership. There you go. Bye, Jackie.
Bye, Jackie. Bye.
Oh, that was great. We've kind of run short on time. So how about we do something different, Alice? How about we double link?
Yeah, that would be lovely. Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
And I'll link into you, you link into me, and see how we go, shall we?
Yeah.
I haven't done this for a long time.
Yeah,
not
I like
live anyway. Yeah. So, guys, I have shared the link online on the messages. Okay, I'm going to reshare the link. Did you want to start while I reshare this link, if I can?
Yeah, I've got a gentleman coming forward who's a father, and there was a stroke condition with him as well. Can see where the brain here was affected, and there's a stroke condition going down, which feels like on the right side to me. I know he's got a daughter as well, and I also feel with him too that I don't feel he was old when he passed. I don't feel this is an old man at all when he passes by the world.
I know who you've got. So I believe I know who you got. So, and we don't get a choice on here at all. Who
connected with you? No.
It's not linked to me. No, it's not actually linked to me. So
okay.
I think I know who you got. Is there? Do you have any more coming through on this one?
Yeah. So as he presented himself, I do feel with him as well. There's I feel with him that he didn't pass straight away after the stroke. Okay, there was complications that actually took place, and he was never quite the same after he had that stroke. And I feel lots of complications took place, and I know that his walking and talking and his think process, it didn't get better. If anything, it got worse, and he got really frustrated. And I also feel as well that he couldn't see a way back from this. He couldn't see a way back from it. He just knew that there was actually he wasn't going to be himself again. He was never going to be himself again. I just feel he just was getting hit from one thing after another. I keep hearing a name coming in. I'm not sure if I'm hearing it right, like Anne or Annie or Nanny, or I'm kind of hearing that name coming in as well. And I also feel that there's two daughters connecting with him, or two granddaughters, but I'm getting
Definitely two daughters. Yeah,
because I'm also picking this up with him as well. And he just it seems to be, he's quite concerned about the eldest daughter just now. There seems to be a bit of a worry going on there. Then he's around them all, but he also is very much around the eldest daughter, where it's just there's just something going on there that I just feel that he's trying his best to let her know that I'm here. I'm here. I'm here with you. I'm here.
Okay. So it's one or two people that I definitely know. We've got the lovely Anne-Marie in the background. Hi, Anne-Marie.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, darling. Hi. Hi. Yeah.
Can you stroke?
Yeah.
And very early in life.
That's all right. As soon as actually I'm seeing you now as well. I can really feel Dad now really stepping right in.
We've got two people though, Alice. We've got two people, and the other person's just come in off screen as well. That I felt you might have as well. The same it's but between Anne-Marie and this person. So I feel like we need. Shall we? Go on.
Bring the other one on. But I feel I want to say one of you would understand Santa Barbara. I want to say one of you would understand Santa Barbara. I've got an echo.
Oh, we got feedback. I don't know if you can hear us, guys. Hi, Jane.
Hi.
Hi, Jane. Hi. Oh, Jane, it's you.
Hi, Alice.
Hi, darling.
Hi. Hi, Paul.
Hi. So you could understand.
There's weird audio going on.
Yeah, there is weird audio. There'll be speakers from somewhere. You might have to take your headphones out, Jane.
Yeah, there is weird audio. She's probably still in the other room too.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Could one of you understand Santa Barbara? Santa Barbara.
I can.
Yeah.
You too?
Yes.
And here was me, thought I was getting that split there. Okay.
The
All
problem
right.
is, I feel I've connected to both your fathers, and you both know that I've connected to your fathers. So I can't do this. This is down to you, Alice, I'm afraid.
Oh, Paul. That's all right.
I recognize him, so I know.
I love it
I know.
anyway.
Yeah, I recognize him.
Yeah. Okay. I just I want to just go over this a little bit more. I will be honest, I feel quite drawn with Anne-Marie at the moment, but just stay there just now, Jane. Okay.
Yeah.
I just feel here, because I could be wrong, just let me get a little bit more clarification with it. So you understand where the two daughters come in, the two children he mentions?
Yes.
Would you understand that, Jane, as well? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And can you also understand as well that Dad was not old when he passed to spirit world? Okay.
No.
Yep.
My dad was older.
Oh no,
He
then
was in his
no.
80s.
Oh no, he's not in his 80s. No.
My dad was 52.
No, that's okay. Sorry, darling. Sorry. See,
Okay.
I thought I was with Anne-Marie, but as soon as I went back to spirit world to get more evidence, they gave it to me. Okay.
Yeah.
And they gave it to me a little bit more sharper this time, where as soon as you said 80, I know for a fact that he was not 80.
Yeah.
So sorry, Anne-Marie.
Okay.
Sorry, darling. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I know, Jane, with you, your father was a lot younger. I also feel that there was a right side that was affected here with him, and I feel he went through quite a few different complications as well. Okay. And he keeps taking me to the brain. I know when you have a stroke, it's affecting the brain, but I feel there's something more with the brain where there was a little bit more TIAs can just continuing here, I feel, with him, and the communication with him as well, where I just feel a very lost soul. Okay. And where he wasn't himself, and he couldn't be who he used to be. And I feel with him, he used to be quite an active man, and he used to have quite a good sense of humor. Although quiet, he was a quiet man. He wasn't a man that liked to exploit his sense of humor. He had this kind of, I feel, dry sense of humor at times as well. And when he had dinner, he liked to have dinner at the table. Okay. Yeah. He liked the family and dinner at the table. And that was the best present anyone could ever give him, was his family actually being around him at the table. Can you also take two grandchildren as well? Or where there's...
Okay. Let me speak.
Yeah.
So my dad had brain cancer.
Yeah.
He had two in his temple. So my sister has a child.
Yeah.
But I have a child in spirit.
Okay, because that's absolutely fine, because he just kept saying, I know he gave me the two daughters, but the two grandchildren were not going away. He kept repeating it and repeating it. Okay. Can you also understand, though, although when he kept taking me back to the brain, can you understand where there's something about his walking here? Okay, and I feel he's shuffling. Okay, I feel he's shuffling, and there's something about this right side, because I can feel the shuffle going along here, and I also feel his speech in some way was affected. Okay, and his cognitive skills was affected in quite a big way, where he actually he used to like sitting at the table with the family around, but when this happened to him, he really didn't want to sit at the table anymore. Would you understand this? And that wasn't Dad. That wasn't Dad, because your dad's personality started to change as well. And then I do also feel that the love that he had, for his family, he couldn't express it the way he wanted to. So it came out with a lot of emotion, but not actually what he wanted to say. So there was a lot of frustration going on with him. And you're the youngest daughter, is that correct?
That's correct.
Because he's just said she's the youngest, And can you understand memories of like tap dancing or something when you were younger, or some sort of who's doing the tap?
So my older sister, she was a dancer.
That's fine, because it's giving me memories here of the dancing, and you can see the tap dancing going on, and I'm seeing the leotard, and I can see all this, and he's bringing in these memories, beautiful memories. He says that he has of his family, and he's just said, I'm with my mother. I'm with my mother. Okay. Now, can you also take the name Glenda? It's an unusual name.
Don't know Glenda. I don't know the name Glenda.
I just heard the name Glenda coming in. You could hear that name coming in there. So I'll just pop that to the side just now then, because I just heard that getting shouted into me there. Can you also understand where March comes in as well? Why you would be taking me to March? I feel for an anniversary around that time, because it's drawn me straight into March.
March is my mom's birthday.
Okay, that's fine, because he was just bringing me into March. I know there's like an anniversary, or there was a birthday, but I just know it's significant to you where he brings me in. Can you take the first? Is it the first of the month, or is it round about that time?
It's the 20th.
It's the 20th. Okay, right. Well, he's also giving me the first of a month for something. Okay, so I've said, why are you showing me the first of the month? The 1st of January he's gave me the 1st of January. Can you understand where around January time, there was a significant amount of stress and upset around that time in January? Since he's passed, not when he was alive.
This past January?
Yeah. Just since he's passed, there's something about stress, and I'm feeling anxiety around January, and it wasn't when he was here, it was actually when he passed, and he's bringing this in as well. And he's talking about the house, or something, keys to the door, or keys to the new house as well. So around that time, there was something going on about the keys to the new door, or the new house in the family.
Well, he passed in 96. But I've had a lot of trauma in my house for a year. So
okay. But he's showing me keys to a new door. There's keys to a new door with this. He's showing me. Okay, so keep showing me keys to a new door.
Awesome. I don't know if something new house is coming in or what. I have no idea.
Okay, but just keep showing me the keys to the new door. Okay. And also can I just say he's talking about the old spools you used to get for the camera, and he's talking about the old spools in the camera, and there's still spools in a camera that has memories of you all when you were younger, that is still could it's never been put in for development. Okay. And then it shows me this camera, and it looks quite an old camera as I look at it. I feel he may have even inherited it, from someone else. Okay. So would you understand?
Yes, I have his old camera. I have his old Pentax camera.
That's wow. There's something about the spool. There's a spool, or it's still to be developed, because he brings this in, and I do feel he did like photography, and he liked bird life, and he liked to get out and in the nature. I just feel all this as well. And the reason I said bird life, he takes me to your picture behind you, and there's I think it's a bird son. Yeah, okay, and he just took me straight in there as well. So I know you like bird life and nature, but there is definitely about if you have a wee look about the spool that's still around. Okay. Like to this camera, because it's definitely there and it's still to be developed. Okay. And he's just said, and she's going to be surprised at what she finds, and he's laughing when he says this. He's laughing when he says this. As I said, I feel he had a nice wee sense of humor as well. Okay, he liked to keep people going. All right, very intelligent man as well. Very intelligent man. And I don't know. I'm just seeing the drawing here, so I don't know if this was something he did or not. But I'm seeing lots of drawing here going on. If it's not with him, then there's someone here that's actually very good with the art or the drawing side of things. Okay. Do you understand this with a gentleman?
I used to draw, but my dad would he would leave, like he would sign his name Dad, and then he would sign it. He would draw like a little pig.
Okay, that's absolutely fine, because he's just shown me the drawing here as well. He's absolutely fine. But he just said, do you understand he didn't want to go into hospital? Okay, but he said it had to be the way it was. All right, okay, and I feel he was suffering. And he was becoming quieter and quieter, and a little bit more withdrawn with it as well. And he doesn't want you remembering him like that. Okay, he wants you to remember the fun side of Dad, and also there's a funny story about the Christmas cracker getting pulled. Okay. You know, and he's just shown me the Christmas cracker getting pulled here, and there's oh right, okay, right. He says I never ever managed to get anything in the cracker, and that used that used to be the laugh. He said I'd pull and I'd pull. He said I never ever got anything in the cracker. He said so someone would give me what was in it and said, there you are, Dad, you have it. Okay. Yeah. You know, and I can see like a wee party hat going on as well. So I feel there's someone's birthday coming up as well, because he's just showed me a birthday hat there, or it's just past, but he's just shown me a birthday hat here now as well. And I feel it's for someone younger. Okay. I feel this is a child that he's talking about. Okay. But he's here and he's absolutely fine. And you know, he's around you anyway, but he is telling you to start to have a little bit more self-belief in yourself, okay, because you've lost a little bit of confidence and a little bit of belief of what you're capable of doing. And he would have told you, if he was here, you're capable of doing whatever you want to do. Only the mind can stop you from doing that. So he's right at your back, and he will encourage you to carry on doing the little dreams that you've got, wee things in your head that you would like to do. All right. But in here, Jane's saying, oh, maybe next week or maybe next month. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. So he's bringing that forward, that don't lose that belief in yourself. Okay. And he's also just said, and how beautiful you are as a human being, inside and out. Okay. But you can't be all to everyone. All right. You have to start looking after yourself a little bit. Okay. A big bit, he said, not a little bit, a big bit. Okay, all right.
Yes, thank you. My dad used to say, go out and poke the world in the eye. Yeah. So that's what I'm definitely trying to do, you know. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Just these past, I feel that the past 3 years in particular, something has slowed down with you, he says. And he talks about the slowing down a little bit, okay? But it was necessary, he says, to look after you, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, all right? Perfect. But you can still progress on in your life, all right? Sorry, just before I go, sorry, Paul. He's also
that's great. This is great. I'm loving it.
He's just showed me a book, so I don't know if you've been planning on writing a book, but he's just showed me a book that is getting wrote, or it's to be written, okay? Because he's shown me this book, and it's definitely you. This is to do with you, okay? So am I right in saying you thought about doing it, or you started it, but you haven't, nothing's really came of it?
Both. I get told all the time that I should write a book, and so it's in my head, and I've written a little bit, but then you know, like most people, just put it off to the side.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen, Jane, I can promise you. Not with your dad around. He's definitely going to be encouraging you, because he wants this book to be published. He wants it to be printed and published.
Yeah, that was a beautiful reading.
That was. Thank you so much.
I knew straight, as soon as he came in, I knew straight. I could feel him straight away. I knew it was for Jane. He's been in before. But Sharon has put on, Jane, you need to talk to your plant behind you. It's looking a bit.
It's not so bad, really. Come on.
It looks a bit there. Like there's two there, but the bigger one looks like it needs some help.
It actually looks a lot better than it used to. I had it sitting in my sunroom because it was dying, but it's looking a lot better. But it's cold here, so it's gonna freeze in there. So it's doing well. It's good.
Good.
Thank you for the concern.
But you're back on next week, aren't you?
I am. Yes, correct.
And we've got another great guest. We've got Paul Goddard, I believe. I might have got that wrong, but I think it's Paul Goddard.
You're correct.
He's, So really looking forward to another great interview. Alice, that's been absolutely amazing having you on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Paul. It was lovely. Really enjoyed myself.
It's been a pleasure. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you, everybody at home, for joining us. We can't thank you enough. But, guys, if you want to stay there for 2 seconds, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. And we'll see you back here this time next week, 8 o'clock. And we'll see you for another episode of Spiritual Talk. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.